I'm going to tell you a quick little story. A few nights ago, I had a dream. And in my dream, I was playing soccer. And the goal was back here. And I was defending the goal. So I was the goalie. And the ball was coming to me. And there were 4 or 5 people, some on my team, some on the other team, coming at me and going for the ball. And the ball bounced. And they came in. And I kicked the ball. I was able to I was still backing up, and I kind of kicked the ball, and it went up and over, and I tried to muster all my strength to reverse my direction. And I hoisted myself forward to try to run and get the ball and go score and everything. And I hoisted myself forward so much that, boom, I hit my head on the bedside table. I launched myself out of the bed, and I got a black eye, and there's a little gash that I don't know if you can see it, but you can see it afterwards. But I was sent a shiver up, from my head to my toes. So it was very challenging, and it hurt. I just want to say that we are often put into defensive positions like that, and sometimes we can struggle, but sometimes we have to get our bearings, and then reverse ourselves and really take that effort to do what it takes to produce the goods, which is what I want to talk about today. We want to produce the goods, and in order to produce the goods, we have to do something. If you're willing to do this, you can do this with me. We got to do a little work. It takes a little digging in the dirt. So if you have long sleeves on and care to, you can roll up your sleeves if you want, or just roll things. Kind of prepare to do a little bit of work with me, okay? And maybe with our master gardener, Chris. I would like to. I'd like to tell you a little bit about this story, review a little bit about the story in Scripture today. I'd like for you to listen for gardening metaphors and things in there too. So it's a parable, right? We have the landowner. The first thing about the landowner that we need to know is that the landowner really, really cared for the land. He cared for the land, and I'm going to kind of demonstrate and talk us through, how we can do this. First of all, he cared for the land by digging really hard and digging and preparing the land, softening it, putting air in there, making it ready. When we have to talk to somebody, when we have to deal with somebody in a business sense, when we have to love somebody, we need to sometimes soften their hearts before we can really do any planting or anything else. So think about yourselves not in necessarily a gardening sense, but in the sense that you're actually preparing the land of somebody's heart or your own heart for something to receive something. Then he took the seed and he sprinkled the seed on the land. And sometimes we have to do this very deliberately. We might prepare the land, but then we might not ever plant the seed. And it takes courage sometimes to go ahead and plant the seed in somebody else of an idea, of a concept, a project, or whatever it is that we are, the seed of love that we are trying to show them and grow within them. And then, of course, he had to nourish the plants, the seeds that he planted. He took the water and he watered the plants. He watered what was done. He cared for the land deeply. Okay, he really set it up. And what must we do to nourish the seeds that we've planted? We might have planted seeds in our kids long ago about ideas. But sometimes if we just plant them and leave them, they don't work. We have to continuously nourish them. We have to continuously provide the moisture, the whatever it is that makes those work, that helps those, from our perspective, work wherever they're supposed to be working. Lastly, he built a watchtower, they said, and he also put up a fence. Okay, we got a fence here, and he put a chicken wire fence or something, to try to protect his investment, to try to protect things. I had a lesson that last year I planted some grass seed in areas that my dog had gone to the bathroom too much on and had gotten bare, and I planted that seed, and I went out and I planted it again, and it didn't come up last fall, and it didn't come up this spring. So I'm like, what did I do wrong? Well, it's all right here. I didn't work the land. I didn't really soften the land in order for the seeds to get in there enough. And this time I did that. I also put a bigger fence around so that my dogs and other critters couldn't get in there. I know Chris has had some challenges with critters getting in our garden here, and he's built, version 1.0 and fence 2.0 and 2.5, I think, and it's evolved, trying to outsmart the critters. So, in this year, my grass is growing. I put it in about 2 weeks ago, and it's already really thick. I mean, certainly the wealth of rain that we've had has really helped. But I watered it, made sure I watered it on the days that the rain didn't come and wasn't going to come. So we have the landowner who really cared for the land, and then he trusted his land to tenants. Okay? And these tenants, unfortunately, he trusted them to care for the land. Unfortunately, they didn't produce. They didn't produce it to him, okay? But he trusted the care for the land, and when he did, they violated his trust. Now, it doesn't say anything about how well they did with the land, but I'm assuming that they had to survive so that they had food for themselves, and probably made some money from it, selling it to other people or trading it for things. So the trust was violated 3 times. He sent slaves, and then they beat them and killed him. He sent slaves again, a bigger group, and then he sent his son, which Scripture scholars say often is an allegory to Jesus. When they sent, God sending his son, and then they also put his son to death. So, and the end result of that really was, Jesus doesn't say that they did this, but he asks, what will they do with the vineyard? And basically, the main thing is that they'll take the vineyard, in order to produce the goods, they'll take the vineyard and give it to somebody else who will hand over the goods. So, the last thing that we need to do is persist. Persist in getting the goods, in producing the goods. He persisted in sending the slaves again, sending his son, and then getting new tenants that would produce. There was persistence. He didn't give up, and we can't give up. He kept wanting to collect the harvest. And the step we need to take sometimes after all of that is collecting our harvest and celebrating sometimes. And sometimes out of that harvest will come, of course, the seeds for next year. And we sometimes in our celebration, whether we're celebrating anniversary of a marriage or a job or a project, or whether we're celebrating some sort of an accomplishment, that celebration can really catapult us and give us the momentum to get us into the next project, and we constantly have kind of new things to go over. So when we have persistence, then we actually learn how to produce the goods. And we produce not bad things, but good things. We need to do, the time to act is now. And they say that there's no time like the present, but really, in fact, there's no time but the present. So the only time we have to act is now. So whatever stages we're at in our projects, in our need to plant the seed, to till the soil, plant the seed, water it, nourish it, protect it, and to harvest it, we need to take the next step and to figure out how we're going to get there. And I'd like to just close with a little bit of a gardening blessing, so to speak. May your celery make everything affordable. May you never carry around too much emotional cabbage. May you be free from deadbeats. May your faith be as solid as a rock. May you never be a couch potato. May you turn over a new leaf, and sprout wings and fly. May you never be full of beans, but may your harvest be enormous. I'm rooting for you.